Okay, so imagine this, right? You're at Wimbledon. It's a beautiful day. The sun is shining. The crowd is roaring. You're about to step onto the court, face your toughest opponent.
Hmm.
But there's a twist. You can't hear the ball whistling through the air, can't hear the thud of your opponent's footsteps.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
It is. And that's the reality that Charlotte Cooper Sterry might have faced as she dominated the tennis world, winning Wimbledon 5 times. And on top of that, she potentially became the first deaf Olympic champion.
That's incredible.
It is. Today we're going deep into her incredible story. And trust me, this journey is going to intertwine with the fascinating and sometimes surprising history of tennis.
Oh, I bet. It's a story that I think really captures that spirit of the early days of tennis, a time of real transformation and innovation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Cooper Sterry's achievements are even more impressive when you consider the social context.
Oh, for sure.
The limitations that were placed on women in that era, and then, of course, her potential hearing impairment.
Exactly. So let's rewind a bit. Let's explore the roots of this beloved sport. I think to truly appreciate Charlotte's accomplishments, we need to understand just how tennis evolved.
Right, yeah.
So we all know lawn tennis, right? That classic game played outdoors on grass courts.
Right.
But before those perfectly manicured lawns of Wimbledon, there was a totally different type of tennis.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was known as court tennis.
Court tennis, okay.
And it was played indoors.
Indoors, all right.
On this really strange asymmetrical court with sloping roofs and hidden galleries.
Wow.
It's really interesting.
Huh.
So court tennis, or sometimes it's called real tennis,
Okay.
was steeped in tradition, favored by royalty for centuries, really.
Ah, so that's where it comes from.
Yeah. In fact, it played a role in some rather dramatic historical events.
Really? Like what?
Well, for example, King Charles VIII of France, huge tennis fan.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he once got so caught up in a match that he neglected a minor head injury he got while playing.
Oh.
And sadly, he later died from complications.
Oh, my goodness.
It just goes to show how deeply embedded tennis was in royal life back then.
Wow, talk about a dedicated fan.
Right. But thankfully, the game evolved, and lawn tennis kind of emerged as this more accessible and dynamic version.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And this is where our champion, Charlotte Cooper Sterry, steps onto the court.
All right, let's talk about her.
Yeah. So she was born in 1870 into a family that really embraced athletic pursuits.
Okay.
So her father was a surgeon, and her mother was an accomplished archer,
Wow.
setting the stage for a childhood filled with sports and outdoor activities.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It makes you think about how that kind of upbringing might have shaped her, character and her approach to competition. Growing up in an environment where they encouraged physical activity probably really fostered her athletic talents
Right.
and instilled in her that sense of determination and resilience.
Absolutely. And her talent, it was undeniable.
Yep.
Picture this. At just 14 years old, Charlotte won her first major tennis tournament.
Wow, 14! That's incredible.
Yeah. So now you might think her family would be ecstatic, throwing a huge celebration.
Right.
But the reality was quite different.
Oh.
Yeah, her brother, upon hearing the news, simply continued pruning his roses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I guess that perfectly captures the understated nature of the times,
Yes.
especially in British society.
Very much so.
But beneath that calm exterior, Charlotte was a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, yeah.
Her playing style was bold, aggressive, a stark contrast to kind of the prevailing norms of women's tennis at the time.
Right. So while many women played this more conservative game, Charlotte was known for her powerful overhead serve,
Oh, wow.
which this was a move rarely seen among female players at the time.
Really?
Yeah, she embraced a more attacking style, kind of dictating the pace of the game, challenging her opponents with her athleticism and finesse.
So her style was really a clear departure from that delicate and restrained approach that was so often expected of women back then.
Yeah.
It's almost as if she was deliberately breaking free from those constraints,
Right.
signaling a shift in how women could approach the game.
Exactly. Yeah. And she did all of this while maintaining this remarkable level of sportsmanship.
That's great.
Yeah. So one of her fiercest rivals on the court was Blanche Bingley Hilliard, another tennis legend.
Okay.
But they trained together, they pushed each other to be better, and they even shared a close friendship off the court.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Imagine battling it out for the Wimbledon title one day
Right.
and then sharing a cup of tea the next.
I love that. It's a testament to their character and the
Mhm.
true spirit of sportsmanship. They understood that competition and friendship, they could coexist.
Right.
That they could push each other to new heights while still maintaining a genuine respect for one another's skills and accomplishments.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Now, here's where Charlotte's story takes this really intriguing turn.
Oh.
So, reports suggest that she began experiencing hearing loss
Mm.
at the age of 26,
Okay.
potentially due to an ear infection.
Oh, wow.
Now, the details are limited, but this raises a fascinating question. How did she adapt to playing tennis, a sport so reliant on sound, while potentially dealing with a significant hearing impairment?
Right. That's a question that really makes us think about the role of our senses in athletic performance.
Mhm.
You know, we know that tennis players rely on those auditory cues,
Yeah,
the sound of the ball hitting the racket, the opponent's movements, even the crowd's reaction
absolutely.
to anticipate shots and develop strategies. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Did she kind of develop this heightened visual awareness
Yeah,
to kind of make up for that lack of auditory input?
right.
Or could her potential deafness have even given her a unique advantage,
Interesting.
minimizing distractions on the court? It's really fascinating to think about.
Yeah, those are really great questions. And unfortunately, the historical record just doesn't really give us all the answers.
Right.
But it definitely adds another layer of complexity and intrigue to her story.
Absolutely.
Just imagine the mental fortitude that would be required to compete at such a high level while potentially facing that kind of sensory challenge.
Absolutely. It really speaks to her resilience, adaptability, and that incredible focus that she must have had.
Right.
And now, let's not forget, all of this was happening during a time when women's roles were largely confined to, the domestic sphere.
Right.
And yet, here's Charlotte traveling the world, competing in prestigious tournaments,
Yeah.
and really kind of challenging that whole notion of what a woman could achieve.
She was a true trailblazer, wasn't she?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And her success, it wasn't limited to just Wimbledon.
Right.
So in 1900, she went on to participate in the Paris Olympics.
Wow.
And this was a pivotal moment in history. It marked the first time women were actually allowed to compete in the games.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. And guess what? Charlotte won the gold medal in tennis.
That's incredible.
It is, making her quite possibly the first deaf Olympic champion ever.
Wow. That is monumental, not just for Charlotte personally, but for women's sports as a whole.
Absolutely.
It helped to pave the way for greater recognition, acceptance of women as athletes, and, really challenged traditional gender roles
Yeah,
and inspired generations to come.
for sure. Speaking of inspiring, her relationship with Blanche Bingley Hilliard really stands out as just this remarkable example of how rivalry and friendship can coexist at the highest levels of competition.
Yeah.
They pushed each other to be better, they celebrate each other's triumphs, and ultimately, I think they really helped to elevate the entire game of women's tennis.
It's a beautiful testament to their character and that sportsmanship. They understood that competition, it didn't have to be cutthroat.
Right.
It could be a source of mutual respect and growth.
Absolutely.
They were rivals, yes, but they were also friends, training partners, and real champions of women in sport.
Exactly. And Charlotte's story, it didn't end with marriage and motherhood, which was really the expected path for women at the time.
Right.
In fact, she continued to compete after having 2 children, proving that she could excel both on the court and as a mother,
Wow.
defying those societal expectations once again.
That's really remarkable. Her determination to kind of balance family life and her athletic pursuits, that was really something. It challenged that prevailing notion that women had to choose,
Right.
between motherhood and personal aspirations.
Yeah,
Charlotte showed the world that it was possible to have both and to excel at both.
absolutely. And her resilience and dedication, they were truly tested in 1908,
Mm-hmm.
when at the age of 37, she staged this incredible comeback, winning Wimbledon for the 5th time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And this victory was particularly impressive because she achieved it without losing a single set throughout the entire tournament.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's extraordinary. It's a real feat of athleticism and mental toughness, especially considering her age and, the fact that she was balancing her tennis career with all those family responsibilities.
Right.
This record, by the way, it still stands today, over a century later, making her the oldest woman to ever win a Wimbledon singles title.
It's an incredible testament to her talent, her determination, that enduring passion for the game. She wasn't simply content with those past victories. She continued to push herself, to test her limits, and to prove that age was no barrier to achieving greatness.
It's inspiring.
And this particular Wimbledon tournament also featured this really fascinating matchup between Charlotte and May Sutton,
Oh, okay.
who was the first American woman to win the title.
Yeah, I know May Sutton. She was known for that powerful game, right?
Exactly.
Often kind of overwhelming her opponents with her strength and that aggressive style.
Right.
But Charlotte, with her strategic approach and her cunning tactics, managed to outmaneuver May. It really proved that finesse and intelligence could triumph over brute force.
It's a classic David and Goliath story, isn't it?
It is.
And it really highlights Charlotte's ability to adapt her gameplay, to analyze her opponent's strengths and weaknesses,
Absolutely.
and really exploit any advantage she could find.
I mean, she was a master strategist on the court, constantly thinking ahead, anticipating her opponent's moves, and adjusting her own game accordingly.
Right.
And that tactical awareness, combined with her exceptional skill and that resilience that we've talked about, I mean, it made her a formidable opponent for anyone.
Or for sure. And she didn't stop there. Charlotte continued playing Wimbledon until the remarkable age of 48,
Wow.
demonstrating just this unwavering love for the game and this really impressive commitment to staying competitive at that highest level.
Right.
Think about that dedication, decades of training, competing, pushing herself to be the best.
It's incredible. It's a real testament to her passion, her perseverance, and that sheer joy that she clearly found in playing tennis.
Yeah.
And her legacy, it extended beyond her own achievements, too.
Right.
Her daughter, Gwen, also became a skilled tennis player,
Wow.
continuing that family tradition and demonstrating that powerful influence of a parent's passion.
It's really beautiful. It's a story of athleticism, determination, and just the enduring power of sport. Charlotte's legacy lives on, not just through her records and accomplishments, but through the inspiration she provides for athletes and individuals of all ages.
As we kind of wrap up here, I keep thinking about just how much Charlotte Cooper Sterry accomplished. 5 Wimbledon titles, Olympic gold, all while, possibly navigating the world of elite tennis without being able to hear the sounds of the game.
It really does make you think, doesn't it, about what's possible.
It does.
Her story kind of invites us to consider how limitations can sometimes lead to unexpected strengths.
Yeah.
We often focus on what's missing, but maybe, just maybe, her potential deafness heightened her other senses,
Right.
sharpened her visual focus, or even enhanced her intuition on the court. It's a really thought-provoking perspective. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of limitations. But what if, in some cases, those limitations actually lead to these unique adaptations and even advantages?
Exactly. We see this all the time throughout history. Individuals who overcome adversity by developing skills and strategies that, others wouldn't even think of. Charlotte's story, I think, reminds us that resilience and adaptability are key, not just in sports, but really in all aspects of life.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the social context of the time. She was competing in an era when women's roles were so narrowly defined.
Right.
Yet she was out there traveling the world, challenging conventions, and excelling in a sport that was often dominated by men.
She was a true pioneer, wasn't she? Pushing those boundaries of what was considered acceptable for women back then, her actions, they really did speak louder than words.
It did.
Showing that women could be both athletes and mothers, champions and role models.
And her impact, it goes way beyond her own achievements. Think about her rivalry with Blanche Bingley Hilliard. Right. These two fierce competitors who also had this deep respect and friendship.
It's incredible.
They pushed each other to be better, really exemplifying the true spirit of sportsmanship.
Their story is such a powerful reminder that competition doesn't have to be cutthroat. It can actually be a source of motivation, mutual respect, and even, personal growth. They elevated each other's game, and in doing so, I think they really helped to pave the way for, so many generations of female athletes who came after them.
Yeah. And then there's that amazing comeback win in 1908 at the age of 37.
Unbelievable.
Winning Wimbledon for a 5th time.
Yeah.
After having children and without dropping a single set. I mean, come on. It's a testament to her unwavering dedication and exceptional skill.
It's an accomplishment that I think still inspires awe even today. And that record, as we mentioned, it still stands, really solidifying her place in tennis history. It's a testament to that enduring passion for the game and her refusal to let age or societal expectations kind of define her limits.
Yeah. Her story's full of these remarkable moments. Like, remember the strategic match against Mae Sutton, that powerful American champion?
Oh, yeah.
Charlotte's clever tactics and adaptability really proved that strategy and finesse could win out over just sheer strength.
It was a brilliant display of her tennis IQ, you know. She really understood Mae Sutton's strengths, and then she just devised this whole game plan that played to her own advantages. I think it's a good reminder that success often depends not just on raw talent, but also on strategic thinking and that ability to kind of adapt to different situations.
So Charlotte Cooper Sterry's life, it was really a tapestry of triumph, resilience, and grace. She navigated a world that often underestimated women. She challenged conventions, and she achieved greatness on her own terms.
Absolutely. Her legacy extends far beyond the tennis court. She's an inspiration not just to athletes, but to everyone, really, reminding us that limitations can be overcome, that passion and dedication can lead to some really extraordinary achievements, and that it's never too late to chase your dreams.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the life of Charlotte Cooper Sterry, the tennis champion who defied expectations and really left this lasting mark on the world of sports, we encourage you to think about what resonated with you most.
What aspects of her story sparked your curiosity? What lessons can we all take from her remarkable journey?
Thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep discovering all those hidden gems of history.